Welcome to Root Talk with Lillian M. Today we're going to be talking about how Ishowspeed has angered the Western media, the American media, and the European media, to be specific. Well, that is according to that is according to me. That is according to everything. You know what? These Western medias, they're not going to be admitted. They're not going to be saying it publicly. But the truth is, they are very much angered because of his African tour. You know what? They're not going to admit it. The Americans and the European, the Western media, they're not going to admit the fact that this guy has just angered us. They're not going to admit it, and they're not going to say it. But we all know that they are angered. We all know that Ishowspeed, most people can agree with me that Ishowspeed African tour has angered the Western media. Because some of you might be thinking, why are they angered? Because it changes their narratives. You know, these Western medias, all they think about, or their narrative is about Africa is poor. People in Africa are poor. People in Africa are dying. People in Africa have no water. People in Africa have not this. People in Africa have not that. People in Africa have not that. So when they come here, most of them, when they come here, they just want to showcase the poor side. They go deep in the village to look for poverty, poor. You know what? These Western media or people from the Western countries, when they come to Africa, they come and live in nice hotels, 5-star hotels and all that. And they wake up in the morning to go deep in the village to look for poor people to talk about Africa. Though just that is the type of Africa they have, the representation. That's what the Africa they like to send, or the image of Africa they like to send to the world. So when Ishowspeed came here last year, December 2025, and he's still here in January 2026, he's still doing his African tour. He is showing the real Africa. When we say he's showing the real Africa, we mean that he's showing both the poverty side and he's both showing the negative side and the positive side. He's showing the richer side, the funny side, the exciting side, and also the sad side. He's showing the real, what is on the ground, and he's streaming live, not these edited fake videos by people like Mr. Beast. He is showing a real live videos, like live stream. So many people, I've seen many people in the Western countries, America, Europe, and you name them, some of them were shocked after watching Ishowspeed's African tour, like live streaming in these African countries, that Africans have cars. They were shocked that there are cars in Africa. They were shocked that there's water, tap water in Africa. I kid you not. So don't you think that is not angering the Western media, the American media and the European media? Of course they are angered. They are angered because these things, this image of Africa, that Africans have no water. Because this image that they have in their mind that Africans, we do not have water, Africans, we are sick and tired, we are sick and unhealthy people, this and that. They got that image from their Western media. These people, if you want to look at it, have nothing good to say about Black people, about Africans in general. They just have nothing good to say. It's either poverty, people looking for donations, people, you know what, on social media, and I hate it the most. And I hate the most on social media when somebody realizes that you're an African, they'll be like, oh my God, we are feeding you. If these Europeans and Western people realize that you're an African, they'll be like, oh, in Africa, we are feeding you. Or in Africa, we have no water. Why? Because that is the image that is being shared to them by these Western medias. So definitely, they're not going to admit that this guy, Ishowspeed, has messed up a lot of things for them. Because Ishowspeed is showing Africa the reality of Africa. Once on the street, people running around, screaming, people are here, are living their lives, they can afford their data, people are just living. You American media, you're not going to admit this. The Western media are not going to admit this, but I know. Because Ishowspeed is very popular. Very popular. I know you were celebrating when people like Mr. Beast coming here saying, "Oh, I'm digging water for the Africans. We're digging water for that. We're digging." Give me a break. Give me a break. I know you Western medias. You really like people like Mr. Beast who come here and say, "I dig water for the poor. I just fed the poor. I bought shoes for Africans." I hate his type of videos because why I hate his type of videos the most, it is because he doesn't do the same with America. I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it over and over again. Even if these social media apps trying to suppress our videos, we're still going to talk anyway. Yeah, I know they suppress our videos. I believe that they don't want, but we're still gonna say it, and we're still gonna call them out. We're still going to call them out because it is what it is. It is what it is. So the Western media, they might not want to believe it. So I think I've seen a lot of people on social media, especially Africans. They are actually happy with Ishowspeed that is showing the real Africa. The Europeans and the Americans, they don't want anyone to see. These social media apps, they try their best to suppress. They try their best to spread the negative and the poor side of Africa. So definitely they're not happy with him. And I think people calling them out as well is a little bit helping, I guess. So yeah, yeah, because now everybody's very much aware. So this Western media, everybody, especially in Africa, they're very much aware of you, Western media, that you only want to focus on the poverty side of Africa. We are not saying that we are not saying that there's no poverty in Africa. We are saying why focusing on the negative only. You know what? A wise woman once said, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. I think that same applies to Western media. If you have nothing good to show about Africa, I think you should not show anything at all. Not only to show the sick kids. The thing is, they go deep in the village and look for kids who are playing in the mud, who have not yet bathed, with flies all over, and say African kids. No, have you ever seen any child from the city? Have you ever seen this Western media filming kids from the city? Well dressed, well fed, well this, well that, well clean. Of course, kids who play in the village, they're definitely going to be very dirty, and that's okay. That's normal, because if you're playing in the village, definitely you're gonna be playing with mud, and that's normal. That's okay. If you grew up in the village, that's totally fine. So they go and film those people. First of all, do they even get permission from the families to do these things? So Ishowspeed, so believe it, and I know it. And they're not even talking about his tour. They're not even talking about it. You're not even seeing it anywhere. These Western medias are not even talking about his tour, African tour. Why? Because he's showing the Africa they don't want the world to see. Talking about African poverty, African suffering, Africans this, Africans that, Africans are that, it makes these people, I feel like it boosts their low self-esteem. Because you know what? Why do they only focus on poverty? Because on African poverty, it's because maybe I strongly believe that talking bad about Africa boosts their low self-esteem. Because if you have nothing good to say about someone at all, I think you just have a problem with that person. And because I can't with these people. We know I'm African, and Western media, I'm very much aware of your tactics, and not only me, but most Africans are very much aware of your tactics, that you like to show the poverty side of Africa. Even the social media apps, these apps, they promote anything that has to do with African poverty. They just like to show it. We know. But we're going to call them out on their own social media apps. We're going to call them out. We're going to call them out. Yes. So I know. Because some were crying, believe you me, some were crying, especially Black Americans. They were crying, realizing that Africa is not what they were told, that is just a bunch of one big jungle where people live in the trees, in the caves, and they were in tears, some of them. And some of you might say, oh, African American is 2026, you need to do your own research. Do you know that when you are being told about something, how bad something is, you just even lose interest in looking into it, doing research, you just lose interest. That is their ultimate goal, to say bad things about Africa so that even Black Americans will not even bother to just even want to look into it, to do their own research. I don't blame them. I don't blame the Black Americans who do not do their own research about Africa at all, because these people are very good at convincing. Me personally, as an African, social media apps, they convinced me that Black Americans were a bunch of thieves, a bunch of criminals. And until I did my own research, I realized that there's more to Black Americans than just thieves and criminals. As these social media apps were trying to push to me, especially apps like Instagram, apps like Facebook, even YouTube. You click on YouTube, you click on these social media apps, the first video they suggest to you, because I have no control, to be honest, of what video I'm going to watch. I absolutely have no control. Don't tell me about algorithm, because why my algorithm? Don't tell me about algorithm, because I have a specific video that I love, but suddenly I'm being shown something in America. Personally, I prefer videos from where I'm from, like African videos or something like that, but suddenly that's my algorithm, right? Because that's what I prefer if I'm just scrolling most of the time. But all of a sudden a video of a black man stealing, black men looting, black women fighting, black American men stealing, black American looting is just popping up all of nowhere, and it was got millions of views. Don't tell me about algorithm. This is a planned thing. I believe that these people, they really planned this, that it's just. So I made this video to just talk about it, and I just want to also appreciate Ishowspeed. Thank you so much, Ishowspeed. Thank you so much, Ishowspeed, for showing the real Africa. These American media, these Americans, like your fellow content creator like Mr. Beast, do not want the world to see. They just want to show like Africans do not have water, and like Mr. Beast, oh, I dug water for the Africans. Who needs a ball? It's 2025. It is 2026. Who needs ball? Who needs well? Mr. Beast, if you really want to help Africa, maybe you can help put the pipes, the water. People need water in their houses, not in the wall. We are not living in 19. We are living in 2026. If at least brag, I'm gonna say 2026, bragging about digging bowl of water. Give me a break. Give me a break. Brag about something else. If you want to brag, at least maybe if you bring like taps, inside taps, like running water and shower in people's houses, I think that something's worth bragging. Not digging a well. Please give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. Digging a well in Africa is extremely cheap. You can dig a well in Africa for less than $500. Give me a break. Give me a break. He claimed to make 1 million per day, and then he bragging about digging a well in Africa, a well of water in Africa that costs $500. Bro, give me a break. Give me a break. So I just want to say, shout out to Ishowspeed. You have done something that I know the Americans are not happy with. It doesn't matter, you have done it anyway. You have shown that Africans are not just backwards people. Africans, you have shown that Africans are people with culture. Africans, we are people with culture. Africans, we are people with values. Africans, we are people with our own lives going on. Yes, we face our own problems. So do you out there, people. So don't act like poverty and problems is an African thing. Give me a break. So I just want to say that shout out to Ishowspeed. So I just want to say, Ishowspeed, you have done so well. You've done so well. You have shown that there's more to Africa. There's more to Africa than poverty and dying people. Thank you, Ishowspeed. You have shown the world that there's more to Africa and Africans than poverty, hunger, no water. Thank you. Because the truth is, Africa, we are literally like people who have our own way of life. First of all, our ancestors have been surviving in Africa for thousands of years, if not millions. Why do people act like we pop up out of nowhere? Why do people wanna act like we pop out of nowhere? We have been here, we've been living for years. So they've been surviving without all these things. So I don't know why people wanna act as if Africa is just. Give me a break, by the way. So thank you to Ishowspeed. Thank you for squashing this negative narrative about Africa that these people have. They have absolutely nothing good to say about Africa, and we are very much aware of that. America, dear American media, dear Western media, dear European media, we're very much aware of you guys. We're very much aware of your plans, your tactics. We're very much aware of what you are up to and what you have been up to, which is spreading nothing but negative about Africa, which is actually bad for Africa, which is actually bad for African tourism. But anyway, which is actually bad for African tourism. And you know what? To be honest, you know what? The reason why I feel so angered or I feel so fired up to talk about this is because Africans, if you're in Africa, you know what I'm talking about. Africans, we get bullied on social media because of these Western media. We are being told that we are dying, we have no food. We are being told. A few days ago, somebody said, you Africans, you eat once a week. You said you drink water once a week. Because of this Western media. People think we are dying. People think we are just a bunch of nothing. If you're an African, you know what I'm talking about. As I said, I will not deny that there is poverty. And I strongly believe that there's poverty in Africa that still needs to be addressed. And I strongly believe that there's success in Africa. And I believe that it's the same everywhere. There are homeless people in America. Why don't they talk about it as much as they talk about African poverty? There's homeless people in Europe. Why they don't talk about it? They only talk about African poverty, this and that. And it's just over. Yeah. Africans were told, oh, you people, do you have shoes? You people do have water. You people do have food. You people do have cars. You have malls. People in the Western countries, they're shocked that Africa, we do have malls, shopping malls, like stores where we can buy. Because they were made to believe that Africa is just one jungle. They were made to believe that Africa is just one jungle. But anyway, we are very much aware of that. But what I like about Africa, really, we don't really care what you think about us. I think we just don't care. That is, yeah. The reason why I kind of care a little bit, but the reason why I kind of address it is because it gets annoying. It gets annoying. Somebody has to say something. These people, they keep saying, you don't have water. You people are dying. We're feeding you. Who feeding who? I don't know how many Europeans who have told me that I'm feeding you in Africa. What? What an insult to my father. My father worked so hard for me to go to school, for me to eat. So you telling me that you're feeding me? How? And I made a video similar to this, and somebody said they are being, and somebody jumped, and a European person jumped in my comment section, and she said, when they were younger, they were told, she said they were younger or younger kids in Britain, UK, they were told to go and beg for money to feed kids in Africa. Wow. Anyway, I don't want to go out of topic. I just want to say well done to Ishowspeed. And I know this American media, they're not even talking about your African tour. They're not, these American Western media, they're not even talking about Ishowspeed African tour, because it is showing the narrative they do not want, because what he's doing goes against the narrative about Africa. So they are not talking about it. And I know most Africans, they're very grateful. You have not only have you shown the world about Africa, you have also shown Africans about Africa. Most Africans have no idea about, okay, Zimbabwe is a nice place to visit. Oh, Namibia is actually a nice place to visit. Kenya is actually a nice place to visit. Ghana is nice. People are actually falling in love with other African countries because of your African tour. So well done, Ishowspeed. You have done. The reason why I'm applauding you more is because you are an American. You're coming from the Western media, and for you to take, and for you, after you were fed this thing that Africa is just one jungle with crazy people, with uninvolved, uncivilized people. This, you were taught so much negative, I believe, by these people, but you chose to come anyway. Ishowspeed, you're only 20 years old. Only 20 years. He just turned 21. Happy birthday to Ishowspeed. He's only 20 years old, 21 years old. After hearing all the negativity about Africa, he chose to come anyway. He chose to. How many of these people that come? If you want to look at the musicians, the superstars, like all of them, when they are doing world tours, they don't even think about Africa, because they have negative about Africa, not knowing that they are very much loved and known in Africa, and they actually make money in Africa doing tours. But they just have this negative mindset, like, Africans cannot afford, Africans this. But well done to Ishowspeed. As young as you are, you didn't listen to the media, you didn't listen to the negative media of the Western media, of the Western countries and the Americans. You came anyway. We appreciate you, we love you, and thank you. Thank you, Ishowspeed, for showing Africa the way America do not want it to show. Thank you, Ishowspeed, for showing Africa the way the Western media, the Europeans, and the rest of the world do not want to show. You show the reality. You show the reality, the reality. And I love that it was live stream. So there's no editing. There was no editing. You have shown the world that Africa is not just one jungle where people live in caves. There's more to Africa than what the Western media has been preaching. So thank you. I really appreciate you, and happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you, brother. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. And I really appreciate you for not listening to the American media. You came anyway. You said, I believe this. The Western media was like, Africans are dying, Africans are this. But you were like, I'm going anyway. I'm going anyway. I'm going to see the Africans. I'm going to be live streaming with them. I'm going to show the real Africans. That's so much courage for a 20-year-old. Bro, we really appreciate you. On behalf of Africa and Africans and African tourism and everything, we really appreciate you. We really appreciate you, because we know that there's a lot of people who are going to come to Africa to visit Africa just because of your videos, just because of your tour. So for that we're grateful. Not because we love to people to visit so much. No, because you have shown the other side that they don't want the world to see. Yeah, but we love visitors because they bring business. So, thank you. I think the African tourism industry is not thanking you enough. You've done so the best. And thank you. So, I strongly believe. So, I'm going to end my video saying that I strongly believe. That's my belief. Strongly believe that Ishowspeed African Tour has angered the Western media. Because Western media, I strongly believe that Ishowspeed African Tour has angered the Western media, because these people, they focus more on African poverty, they focus more on African this, African that, Africans are suffering, Africans. It's just nothing good they have to say. Absolutely nothing. So I know they're not happy. And I like it. So once again, thank you, Ishowspeed. And the Western end, I have a message to Western media. Is that we know, we are very much aware of your tactics. We are very much aware of how you have made the world to believe that Africans, we are a bunch of uncivilized people. We are a bunch of nobodies. We're a bunch of illiterates. We are illiterates. We are a bunch of any negative thing you can think of. We get attacked on social media. If you're an African, we get so much bullied and attacked, told that we have no food, we are dying, we are sick people, we have no water. The list is endless. We are feeding you, we are donating to you. Anyway, I'll see you next time on Real Talk. Anyway, once again, thank you, Ishowspeed, for showing the world, the Africa they don't want the world to see. I'll see you next time on Real Talk with Lillian M.